I am a century runner whose ancestors could be traced to the city of 100 gates. The name of that city was Thebes, a testament of black people's mind, body, and soul molded in the stone. But a baton has just been passed on to me as I maintain a steady pace. I enter the 17th century circuit for some resistance to the white man's authority. Upon my arrival in Angola in Africa, I heard people's voices moaning in a tone of undescribable mourning, screaming, the magnificent Queen Nzinga has been murdered. I shook my head and I sighed in disbelief. So I ran and I ran and I ran. And I saw the Portuguese, whose demeanor seemed to be thrilled by the news of the Queen's demise. But to their utter surprise, Queen Nzinga arose from the grave of oppression, leading an army of soldiers with nothing but liberation on their mind to seize the time to crush the opposition with this strategic deception. Now, two nations are in transition. Matamba and Angola, both headed by Queen Nzinga, whose liberating essence finally lifted the boulders of those Portuguese soldiers off that portion of African soil. For 40 years, she fought for our people to stay free until she reached her point of no return in 1663. Just as the temperature rises degree by degree, so did the foreigners puppet African chiefs. So I ran and I ran and I ran. And I saw a ship with an untold number of Africans chained together like cattle. For the sight of that monstrosity caused my bones to rattle. And the stench of that ship touched my heart and my soul and turned my blood into a constant flow of misery instantly. So I ran and I ran and I ran until I reached the near end of that century. And I saw the Berlin Conference and progress that ended the slave trade, but with economics on their conscience. Those same 14 European nations decided to stop fighting amongst each other and colonize the entire African continent. So I ran and I ran and I ran until I reached the 20th century. And I heard the voice of Marcus Garvey, who shouted, "Africa for the black man," a pioneer of the Pan-Africanism theme, but he was locked up on false charges and deported back to his country because of his dream. So I ran and I ran and I ran, and I heard the voices of Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X and Stokely Carmichael, whose political stance screamed, "Black power, motherfuckers, this is our hour." But infiltration after infiltration, assassination after assassination, our great leaders fell like leaves. So I ran and I ran and I ran, and I heard a voice like no other, because he captivated my soul and told me the reason why I had to pay the toll to go through hell to come out right. And his name was Clemens the 13th X, whose proper name was Allah, who showed and proved that the black man was God without a shadow of a doubt. So I ran and I ran and I ran. And then I saw Bloods, whose names stand for brotherly love overrides oppression and destruction. And Crips, whose names stand for continuing the revolution and progress, clashing as if they forgot who was the target. I wonder why they cannot see the longer they stay departed, the longer it will take them to succeed. So I ran and I ran and I ran till I reached the near end of that century. And I saw 41 shots get put into Imaz Diablo when the perpetrators get set free. I wonder why haven't they seized that time to start the revolution that we so desperately need. So I ran and I ran and I ran. Stressed from the sights that passed before my eyes, I was still able to pass the baton on to the next century runner whose ancestors could be traced to the city of 100 gates. Peace.